Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
What's up, guys? Happy Monday and welcome back right here to Puck Time on WagerTalk TV. I am Andrew, joined by Carmine and Dave here today in his usual spot. Let's recap the weekend that was hockey, guys. Everybody's talking college hoops. Everybody's getting excited for baseball. How about the world of NHL betting? Carmine, we'll start with you, man. How are you?
I'm good. I am glad the weekend is over. Sunday was decent, but let me tell you, the gambling gods really got me on Saturday. I thought they would wait till April because I was having such a good March. And Saturday morning, I woke up, I had a winner to start the day, and that was it. I literally took the L after L after L. You got to wear the losses the same way you talk about the wins, but it actually I just got creamed on Saturday. It was so bad that on Sunday I needed to go out and I had the wife start the car just in case, if it was one of those. But I'm looking forward to Monday. It's here. We put it behind it. We're still having a fantastic March with up over like 70 units. So let's just keep it going.
Yeah, Kyra, I think the best thing about what we do is that there's no such thing as a Friday and no such thing as a Monday. I was looking forward to this show. I miss doing the show when you come back. And like the Wager Talk tweet said, everybody's focusing on basketball this weekend. Let's get back into hockey mode. Dave, how was your weekend, buddy?
Uneventful. Saturday did well with the Calgary Flames. Played a parlay yesterday. I've done 3 of those this season. This was the first one that lost. I'll do that if I'm involved with a high-priced favorite because there's less risk involved. And so that didn't work yesterday. But, it's been a good hockey season. I'm pretty happy.
Unfortunately, yesterday I'm coming off a loser of my 5% play on Oregon that absolutely just got crushed. It wasn't close at all. The 2-3 zone got me, but I'm still 2-1 on the tournament and 5% college hoop plays. And I'll take that. I'll take that win percentage any day of the week. So apologies to those of you guys that grabbed that play yesterday. You can bounce back with me here on Monday with my NHL plays. But guys, today on the show, let's get right into it. We're talking about the Islanders, Penguins, Jets, Flames, Flyers, Sabres, Oilers, Maple Leafs, and the Ducks and the Avalanche. And the first game we are going to discuss is going to be the Islanders and the Penguins as they go head-to-head. And, Carm, you know that I've told you on the season that I had tough luck betting against the Penguins. That's kind of been the team that's had my number. But I'm going to go ahead and say a few things about them in their past 10 games. They have defeated the Devils, the Sabres a few times, and I think you, Dave, and I could beat the Sabres. Just recently, this Islanders team, I mean, sometimes you look at the W's and you got to wonder where those W's are coming from. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here with this Penguins team. So I'm curious here in this bounce back spot, what we'll see out of this Penguins team. Obviously, it's great to have it as our face-off game with pretty much a pick 'em price, -110 across the board here. Also, with overs being very hard to come by right now in the NHL, unders are dominating the NHL betting boards. 4 of the last 5 games for the Islanders have gone over the total. I'm going to look for the Islanders here, but I will go over in this game. Between these two teams right now, I think they're going to battle right until the final buzzer. And the shot counts for both these two teams have been extremely high. Power play percentage has been pretty high for both these two teams. So I think the Islanders get the job done. But I'm going over in this game as well, Carm.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to. I'm not sure I want to fade the Penguins at home, even though sometimes we like to go with the team that lost the first game in the second game. The Pens pretty much put that game away in the second period. It was like 5-0 before the Islanders got onto the board. And we always talk about that Islanders, the road unders that was 15-2 at one point. They've now gone over the total a couple times. It's 15-4. But it's the Pens at home. These guys they're winning. And when they win, they score. 15 home wins this year. I think I talked about it last week. 13 now of those 15 wins They've scored 4 or more goals in those games, including twice against this Islanders team. 5-2 in the series, 3-0 at home against the Isles. I'm not sure I want to get in front of this Pittsburgh team right now, just the way they're playing. For me, I'm going to look at a couple different things with the team totals, and I talked about the Pittsburgh team totals. The over 2.5 is juiced at minus 165, but the Pens team total of over 3.5, which they've gone over, like I said, 13 of those 15 wins at home, and if you expect them to win, maybe it's the way to go, is plus 165. So I'm thinking of just splitting a unit or putting a unit on each one of those and taking the Pens team total over 2.5, Pens team total over 3.5. The only way I lose those is obviously if they score, they get shutouts or score 1 or 2. But I think they score some goals tonight against this Isles team tonight. So that's how I'm going.
That's a great play. I like that a lot. Dave, what are your thoughts here in this game?
Well, I think the spot's right for the Islanders. The tough part is Pittsburgh's been so good at home, and it's not easy to play against them at home. And I can't say you're getting a great value because the Penguins, despite that great home record and the fact that their overall record's pretty good, they're barely favored in the game. It's basically a pick 'em. So the odds makers are pretty much telling you that the Islanders are the better hockey team, and I would think coming off a game in which they didn't play particularly well, you're going to see Barry Trotz's team make a much better effort tonight. I would have to look at the Islanders here, despite the fact that it's not easy to go against this Pittsburgh team on home ice. But I think if there's a spot to do it, this might be it. And the odds makers, to me, are giving you the indicator here.
Yeah, there's certainly been some home and road splits for some teams that have been pretty dominant. And this one Pittsburgh team is definitely one of them. But I guess, like Dave said, I'm in agreement with him that I believe this is a good bet on spot here for the Islanders. The next game we're going to talk about here, guys, the Flames and the Jets. And Dave, I've actually been curious and waiting to ask you about this because I know that you were pretty high on the Flames at the start of the year. I'm curious how you feel about them here at this point, how you felt they dealt with the adversity after they had a few wins after getting the new coach. Then they won a few games without scoring, maybe 1-2 goals per game. But you have to admire the bounce-back effort, and it sounds like you were on them in that game.
I was. They got a real public tongue lashing from Sutter after the game they lost to Winnipeg, and they were really bad in that game. Really bad, lethargic, undisciplined. It was a horrible performance, and I thought they'd come out with a big effort in this game on Saturday, and they did, and managed to get a win. But it's not a very good mix in that team, and they're going to have to make some deals. They're going to have to sell at the deadline. They're just too small. They've got a couple of guys in the team who's at this point, they're getting diminishing returns from these guys, and they probably need to get moved. I got the win out of them Saturday. That's all I wanted out of them was that one good game. I think Winnipeg will probably bounce back in this game. The Jets are the significantly better team at this point, and I would expect Winnipeg to have a real good chance to win this game. It's certainly a game I'm considering playing with the odds being where they are because I can actually get a little plus money right now on the Jets. And that, to me, if that line holds, that's probably worth the small bet.
Well, it's only been a handful of times on the season here, guys, that the Winnipeg Jets have not bounced back after a loss. They've actually been one of the better teams in the league, if not the best, after a loss. They haven't lost too many consecutive games here. And I agree with that price. I mean, plus 105, you can give me the Jets here in this spot. And that's the thing I've been saying about the Flames for probably the past year and a half, Dave, is that I felt that they have the skill, they have the talent, but when it comes down to it, hockey isn't about playing an all-star game. It's about having full, well-rounded lineup, not being able to get bumped off the puck, having a couple guys that are bigger and tougher, but can also play hockey and score goals. And I feel like they do not have that. They have too many small guys that get bumped around in the corners too much, get bumped off the puck. And if you look at this Winnipeg Jets team, they're the exact opposite of that. I mean, they have power forward after power forward after power forward. And if you're not big on that team, you're fast. So today's point, Cal got the job done. The Flames bounced back after losing the first game, but I'm going to go back here with the Jets. Carm, what's your play here in this one?
Yeah, until I see more consistency from the Flames, excuse me, until I see more consistency from the Flames, it's tough. They had that little spurt when Sutter took over, and then they just played 3 or 4 games where they just probably even more where they didn't look good. They didn't look good in those games in Ottawa, and yeah, Ottawa did play well and played the Leafs tough as well too. But I just can't put money on the Flames until I see something from them. The only good news is they didn't fold in that game after blowing a 2-goal lead last time out. The Jets got a couple in the second period, and you would have thought, okay, maybe in the third, let's see if this team has any will to them. It's pretty funny what Sutter said after the previous game where they talked about Gaudreau about to play his 500th game. And he said, well, I hope he shows more energy in the 500th game than he showed in the 499. So he has absolutely no problem calling out his players. We'll see what they do tonight. A slight lean to the over here just because the books have finally adjusted. These numbers have been 6s, 6.5s. They got them down to finally a 5.5. The first 2 games between these two were 4-3 OT games. The 5 games since then, 4 of them were 5-goal games. It seems to land on that 5, and 1 was a 6-goal game. So I'm going to look to lean, slight lean on the over 5.5 here tonight.
Over for Carmine this one. I think it should be a great game, guys. Either way, a great, entertaining game. That's the reason why it is listed as our marquee matchup. I'll tell you a game that is not going to be our marquee matchup, guys, and you probably won't be lining up to watch this game. Minus 195. There doesn't seem to be much line change, line movement, but I think we will have some in this one here. The Flyers and the Sabres go head-to-head, and this should show us something here, guys. This should tell us how bad this Sabres team really is. If the Flyers right now were laying minus 200 at one point against this team. Also, we're coming off a game. Look at the last time these two teams, or the last time that Buffalo was out there, they only lost by 1. And we saw that Boston was minus 400 around that price. Boston was around minus 400, getting up there in some of the, close to those records for highest NHL favorite we've seen. And now a Flyers team that's been struggling to score goals, struggling to play defense, goes up against this Buffalo team and lays this number, guys. It's kind of ridiculous to me, but I don't know about you guys. I can't go against them. I mean, I'm not going to bet on the Buffalo Sabres here.
I can.
If there was a spot to do it, Dave, I would do it here, but they're not getting my money.
I think you take a shot here. They're playing terrible hockey. I want to see who's in goal. If it's Carter Hart in goal, I'm pulling the trigger. I'm gonna bet Buffalo. What's that, Carmine?
It's supposed to be Carter Hart. They said that he would. Yesterday, they said he would likely be the starting goalie today.
Well, once I see that confirmed, I'm going to go ahead and bet Buffalo. Carter Hart, his last 10 games, he's gone 10 straight games since he had a shutout against the.
It's now confirmed
Sabres.
Brian Elliott, sorry.
What's that?
I'm sorry, it's now confirmed Brian Elliott. I just seen it confirmed.
That's just on Carter Hart. I'm waiting for his next appearance in goal, and I'll be on the opposite side. He had a shutout against Buffalo on February 28th. Since that time, he's made 10 appearances, and his best save percentage in those 10 games is .889. Which is below average. 815, 889, 625, 846, 833, 750, 880, 786, 875, 545. He is absolutely the worst goalie in the league right now. It's clearly between the ears because the guy's got a ton of talent, but he's a mess right now. I was hoping that it would be Carter Hart in goal tonight. With Elliott, maybe I'll just leave it alone. But I think the Sabres have a good chance to break their streak in this game. They're going to be out there trying. They came really close in their last game. They played well. And the Flyers are a very beatable team right now. I couldn't consider laying this kind of a price with Philadelphia.
I'm definitely having some video problems here, guys, with this camera here, but the show must go on. This looks absolutely ridiculous. I will say that I agree with Dave about how it's a good bet on spot for the Sabres. I just don't know, Carmen, if after all these games they've lost, if I want to try and catch a falling knife, because that knife has been falling for a long time right now.
I kind of agree with Dave. First of all, I was hoping it was Hart. He's like 8-9-1, 4.03 goals against average, .869 save percentage against the Sabres this year. He was like 1-1 in 3 starts, and he was pulled in one start where he allowed 3 goals in the first period, and in another one he allowed 6 goals in a loss. The one thing, one thing I can say about the Sabres, Andrew, they are, believe it or not, they are a live dog tonight, even with Elliott and net at plus 175. 15 of these 17 losses, okay, you have to remember, Linus Ullmark, who is the best Sabres goalie, has been injured. He's been out for 15 of those starts. He came back, and they played a damn good game against the Bruins, even though the Bruins aren't lighting anybody up right now. Gave up that lead late and lost 3-2. 5-5 on the year, 2.49 goals against average, .918 save percentage. This is a goalie playing for the Sabres, and he has these stats. Has not allowed more than 3 goals in any game this season. That's impressive to me. They get him back in goal tonight. The Flyers aren't beating anybody right now. They're 3-7 their last 10. They're 5-10 their last 15 games, and that's in a division where you're playing teams like the Sabres, the Rangers, the Devils. I'm sorry, they're not convincing me. I'm never laying a price of $2 on the Flyers or where they're playing right now. I know Matt Joseph is probably going to go at me on Twitter later about this, but I am calling the upset tonight, the Buffalo Sabres, plus 175.
All right, and he's not saying that as a Buffalo Sabres fan because I've seen Carm bash his team. So for the record, he is not biased. We're pretty much saying these two teams are both bad teams. Flyers have been playing poorly, but even with Elliott in net, it could be potentially a good spot here for the underdog wager on the Sabres. And guys, I never advise this, and this is something that I've always said it wasn't a good idea. It's always better to take the underdog. But Dave, real quick, I don't want to take too much time on this, but I was curious to ask you this, and I plan on asking you this. You kind of introduced me to betting the -1 consistently and made me feel better about doing it. I'm curious if you would ever bet the +1.
No, I don't want to lay a price. No, I'm staying away from all puck line. I've stopped playing the -1s. There's too many 1-goal games this year. It's just not worth it. So that's why I actually went the parlay route, and it didn't work yesterday, but I wanted to play the Blues yesterday and decided to go with them and another team in a truck parlay. And again, it didn't work, but that's the way, you gotta be versatile in this game. I would not recommend laying 1.5 in any NHL game the rest of the season. And so that eliminates -1 too, because that's half your bet is on the puck line. I would actually strongly recommend against it. This is all 1-goal games right now in this league. Just an inordinate percentage. So -1.5 is just not a good bet.
And it has absolutely everything to do with the new season, the new schedule, the new format, the film on these teams. That's what I would believe anyway. Let's get into our dumper chase segment here. The Maple Leafs now -160 against the Edmonton Oilers here. The Oilers plus 135. Leafs actually come back. Oilers were leading in that game. They come back, tie it up, go to overtime again. And for all you Leafs fans that keep on saying the Montreal gets these pity points, well, now the Leafs, back-to-back games, they've had to win them in 3-on-3 fashion, but they got it done. And I would not want to go to OT, though, against that talented roster that the Maple Leafs have. If I'm Connor McDavid, I'm pretty disappointed, Carm, because I think they had a pretty good effort. The Oilers looked pretty good on the night. They used their speed. They played pretty strong defensively. But once it got into the overtime, I was pretty worried for that Oilers team. Now, I ask you this, though, from a price standpoint, this is why I chose it as our dumper chase segment here. Are you willing to go back here on this Maple Leafs team at a -160 price in a game where they probably didn't even deserve to win in the first meeting?
You can say they didn't deserve to win it, but at the end of the day, to win it in the NHL, you've got to play 60 minutes. And then, if needed, an additional 5. The Oilers didn't play 60 minutes. They didn't close out the Leafs. And, it's 8 games so far this year. The Leafs have won 6 of the 8 games. We look back at the last time Edmonton won in Toronto, and they played quite possibly one of their best defensive games in beating the Leafs 3-1. And, they had a spurt of games where they played Ottawa, Montreal, Calgary, and Vancouver, where they were winning these 3-1, 3-2 games, 3-0, but they're playing teams that just don't have scoring throughout that lineup. I don't see the scoring through Ottawa's lineup, Montreal's lineup, Calgary doesn't have it. It's a different here. The Leafs do have secondary scoring. They've got a second line. They've got a third line. They're having trouble dealing with teams like that. Do I want to lay the price? I probably don't want to lay anything higher than 150, 160 on Toronto. But until I see the Oilers being able to play 60 minutes against a team that can score goals, I just can't take them in this spot. So for me, it's got to be the Leafs here, a small lean.
Yeah, my thought process is the exact same thing. The depth is just there in favor of the Maple Leafs. They just have much, much more of it. And you look at Alex Galchenyuk being added to that fourth line there. Jason Spezza having an unbelievable year. So many players on that team taking less money. And Galchenyuk, Dave, if we look at it back in his Montreal days, he was counted on quite a bit. He had to be the main guy. Yep. Arizona, he had to be the main guy. Anything he does now is just fine. You know, any little thing he does is additional to this team. 3 points in 4 games for Galchenyuk. And Jake Muzzin had a quote saying he's the hardest working player on the team right now. So I agree with Carmine, Dave. The depth is what makes this Leafs team better.
No, I agree with that completely. And I think that's probably why this is the team to beat in that division as far as the playoffs are concerned, is the fact that they go 4 lines deep. And Edmonton doesn't. I mean, obviously, Edmonton has one great line because anytime the best player on the planet is on the ice, they have an advantage. But when you get down to the third and fourth lines, that's where Edmonton probably not as strong. It'll be interesting to see what the Oilers do at the deadline, because they're a team that, you know, am I saying that they're the best team in the league? No, not by any means. But it'll be interesting to see if they can add a couple of depth pieces and make the third and fourth line stronger at the deadline. In this division, they'll have a real shot to win come playoff time. But I don't know if they're going to do that or not. As for tonight, I think it's priced about right in that 140 range. So there's no play here for me.
Andrew, can I add one more thing, if you don't mind?
Yep.
Just go before, because I want to throw it to Dave on this. Is obviously when you look at the Leafs, they've got their better goalie in there because there's something wrong with Freddie Anderson. So having Jack Campbell in there obviously helps his team. But with Edmonton, we talked about, I think earlier in the season, the question with their goaltending and bringing in a goaltender. I'm not really sure that's the case now because Smith's look good.
He looks real good.
What are your thoughts? Right?
No, listen. Mike Smith's turning back the hands on the clock. He looks great. So just ride him. There's no reason, there's nothing to indicate that Mike Smith's going to suddenly go bad. So yeah, just keep rolling with him.
All right, good.
Well, I think, Carmine, you've mentioned that you don't really like the idea of 1A, 1B, but also at the end of the day, at the exact same time, you kind of want to pick your starter. If somebody is more hot, someone's playing better. Every Leafs fan was calling for Campbell to get in between the pipes, and now it's an injury for Anderson. Well, I came to Anderson's defense for a few games, and I'm not even a Leafs guy, but I felt like that some of the bad goals he was letting in were crappy defensive plays. Austin Matthews literally stuck his leg out to try and block a shot, and it deflected right into the net. Like stuff like that, you can't blame the goalie for that.
He just has not had a good season.
No, absolutely. Okay. And Jack Campbell gives them confidence.
You go with your big gut. Listen, everybody assumed Leno was going to be in goal for the Golden Knights on Saturday because it was his turn. He wasn't. They went right back with Fleury, and it paid off, obviously. Almost every team in the league has a number one goaltender. And we're already at the point in the season where if it's an important game, you go with your number one.
Let's hop into our barn burner segment, Carm.
All right. I was just going to add at the end, because we had a little bit of extra time here, just going to add, nothing guts your team more than when you're playing your eyeballs out and your goalie lets in a couple of soft ones. It literally is disheartening to a team and can literally suck the life out of a team. And in a 60-minute game, you can't do that. So anyways, let's move on to the third one. Sorry about that.
Well, you know what, Carm? That's actually a great segue because nothing does the exact same thing to you when you have like 35 saves on a game and your team has 1 goal. And that team is the Anaheim Ducks. They have a goalie that should be on a contending team. That is John Gibson. He made an unbelievable save over the weekend. I'm not sure if you guys saw that save that he made, but it was crazy. Stacking the pads, flipping right around. He's a guy that the exact opposite thing that Carmine just says what happens to him. I mean, he has an unbelievable game, and his team can't score a couple goals for him in his favor. However, this Ducks team, guys, has looked better recently. They've looked like a better team. They've been able to score some goals in some timely fashion. Total here is 5.5. Avalanche have proved they can play defensive. They can win low-scoring games. But how do you guys feel about this right now? Dave, I know you don't love totals, but give us your thoughts, man.
My thoughts are next game. Colorado will beat Anaheim tonight. If you want to find a partner for them in a parlay, I wouldn't say that's the worst idea. They're off a loss. You don't want to face Colorado off a loss. Anaheim played last night in St. Louis and now has to travel into altitude. And that was a kind of an amazing win yesterday. They're down 2-0. Stolarz was in goal and looked shaky early and then really settled down. It was absolutely great over the last 2 periods. He didn't have to do anything in the overtime because St. Louis never touched the puck. But he basically won the game for them as they came back and beat the Blues. But I doubt there's much left in the tank. Now they go into altitude and they catch the Avalanche off a loss. This would be as big an upset as there's been all season this year in the NHL if Colorado doesn't win this game.
Carm?
Yeah, I agree with Dave. Sometimes we say when a team comes off of playing another very good team, as Colorado did against the Golden Knights, and you have 2 big games, there could be a flat spot. That hasn't been the case with this Avalanche team. They're playing well. 3rd and 4 nights for Anaheim, as Dave said. They're now having to travel to Colorado elevation. And the other thing is, it's not Gibson. It's going to be Miller tonight. I think Gibson picked up an injury, which is why they went to Stolarz. And Colorado, their games for last week and this week have been all spaced apart with a day off in between. So we're going to see Grubauer the next 3 games, and then we won't see their backup Johansson until the second of a back-to-back on Saturday against the St. Louis Blues. So let's go with Gru here and Colorado. And so I'm going to lean to the over here. I think we see some goals tonight, over 5.5 for me.
Yeah, we saw this Colorado team play a relatively competitive Minnesota team, but they dominated them. Then we saw them play the Arizona Coyotes, a team that's actually been playing some decent hockey, and then the Vegas Golden Knights. I think it'd be a fair shake here, guys, to say this is quite a bit of a step down here in competition. They're going up against the Ducks here. I think that they win by margin. But as Dave said, right now in the NHL, it's tough to beat anybody by margin. You're not seeing that many games decided by a couple goals. So I agree with Dave. This could be an opportunity to hop in here and grab this and find another dance partner for the Colorado Avalanche. But I do believe they will get the job done. Also, you can grab them first period, -0.5. I've actually been betting those quite a bit with teams that I like as big favorites, and you get a pretty good number on that, usually around like +120, something of that nature. As far as the total goes, guys, I actually have a lean to the under in this game. I feel like Colorado will have a very controlled, well-defensive win here in this game. I predict something around 3-1 in this contest here. I think Anaheim just won't be able to compete against this Colorado team that's off a loss. Let's get into some power play here, some best bets and promos for tonight on $9 Monday. Carm, we'll start with you.
Yeah, 3 games up in NHL for tonight, and I also have for Tuesday a 3-game card, which may turn into a 4 or 5-game card in World Cup qualifying. After a bad Saturday, bounce back with a 5-1-in-1 day in soccer on Sunday. So we're going to look to continue. There's games on Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll have cards up for those. As far as my best bet goes, I am going to go to the Vegas Golden Knights game. I'm going to take Vegas in regulation time. It's -135 Vegas in regulation time. There's, that race for the West is absolutely unbelievable. It's going to go right down to the wire between the Knights and the Avalanche. I just absolutely love the way these teams played. They've beaten LA 3 or 4 times. The last time they played LA in LA, they lost that game despite getting 42 shots on net. They played great in that game, but the Kings just played a better game. I'll take the Knights off that win against Colorado to get another one tonight and get it done in regulation time.
All right, Dave, and for you?
I guess I'll go with Winnipeg. As of now, I haven't played anything tonight, so nothing to promo for $9 Monday. But the package is up. Baseball #1 last year. Hockey last 2 seasons combined, I'm #1 at WagerTalk. Full season baseball, $8.75, which works out to about $1.25 a month, which is cheap enough. And you get the rest of the hockey season free. So it's a great deal. You make the commitment for the season to me, and I'm going to make the commitment to try and win a lot for you all season long. And that's available right now at WagerTalk.
That is an unbelievable deal.
I'll go with Winnipeg for the best bet on the show, but again, it's not an actual wager for me.
Dave's recommendation is Winnipeg here on the show. They've been great off a loss, that's for sure. And that package is just unbelievable, Dave. I mean, grab his baseball package, guys. They're going to toss in the NHL, and Dave has been great with his NHL plays. I'm going to go with the under in Toronto and Edmonton, guys, under 6.5 between these two teams. I believe that if Edmonton has any shot in winning this game, they'll have to do what they tried to do and attempted to do the last time around and play good defensive hockey for the last, full 60 minutes. They cannot get into playing pond hockey or shinny end-to-end action. It will not make them successful. That's for sure, guys. It's $9 Monday at both sites. You can check us out at WagerTalk.com. Dave, Carmine, and myself, we're all found there. I have a 2-pack of hockey plays so far that I'm going to be posting directly after this show. And nothing else is up so far, but it's $9 Monday. Every play package is just $9. Best bets there. You can find them on the screen. I'm on the Oilers, Maple Leafs under. Carmine with the Golden Knights in regulation time. And Dave with the Jets. Carm, Dave, let's get the 3-0 sweep, guys. Start this week off right. Happy Monday to all of you guys out there watching. Best of luck tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow right here on WagerTalk TV.
Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets for the next 30 days from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1.99 versus the regular price of $3.49 for a total savings of $1.50. Prices are already discounted across the board and no coupon is required. Just head over to WagerTalk.com, pick your favorite handicapper in the experts menu, and lock them in for 30 days across all sports for only $1.99.